Welcome back to the second episode of the Vice City Stories 100% Speedrun tutorial. Go ahead, jump right in with Boomshine Blowout. This is a pretty standard mission. Nothing too special. This mission's just the same as NMG, as normal, as a lot of these missions have been, and will be for like the next 4 missions. I'll finally see some change on got protection. These ponies make me angry. You'll understand why later. Ooh. Ooh. Clipping all these corners. Alright, so just like NMG, or major glitches, we're gonna do some reverse driving as much as we can. So, nothing much to say about this mission, really. There's nothing special going on. Obviously, we can't get any collectibles during this mission. Ooh. Reverse driving it can be pretty tricky to learn. So I would recommend practicing it because it makes this mission a lot faster. Once you get used to it, it's nothing special. I'm still not great at it, and I ran this game for almost 4 years. It's probably closer to 3.5 actually. This one here, you want to be a little careful because you can accidentally bump into that pile of debris. Oh, come on. So, driving in reverse, if I wasn't clear, makes the forklift go faster. Going around corners can be a little annoying sometimes, though. And I would recommend not lifting your forklift thing until you're pulling up to the truck, so you don't have to worry about that while driving backwards. Oh jeez. And that's the mission. So now we're immediately just gonna run forward. And we're gonna grab the Cuban Hermes part here. Hermes, Hermes, Hermes. I don't know how to say it. I've already said Hermes. Probably not correct, but we're just gonna go ahead and drive on over to when Fun Day comes. And there's nothing, again, nothing special. I don't know if that card's any better, to be honest with you. Most of the time you want to try and look for a better car. Like a cop car would have been really nice for this location. A stallion is good too. Cuban Hermes, it's not common, but I don't even know if it can spawn there, but that'd be a good car to take. But a lot of the time you'll end up just taking the Regina here. So that's simply what's parked outside of Louise. This is simply just a quad break race.
You'll need it.
We'll always try to win and be fast. Try to be careful because the quad does sometimes turn really poorly like that. The goal, I think the most realistic goal should be sub 1 minute on this race. I think that's probably the most realistic. I think like top runners aim for like 52 or 53 seconds, which can be pretty hard to hit. I personally just aim for sub 1. Which I should be able to get. This turn is always the most annoying because you're also going up a hill and down a hill here. Whoa, okay. Never done that before. I'll be frank with you. We're still in first though, so it's alright. Don't do that in the race. But again, the race is really easy. So now we're just gonna go ahead and run over to waking up the neighbors. Don't pick up the grenades, you do not need them. And just go ahead and run behind you to get the Sanchez. This one's a little different than NMG because I do believe you pick up the grenades in NMG. But we're just going to do the out-of-bounds strat as normal. Some placebos here that you can try and make it work, but I don't think any of them have been proven. Hello, sir. And we're immediately just going to go ahead, drive back. Park your bike right about here, I'd say. I like to do it on the other side of the wall. You can get it on the inside of the wall. But that's just where I find the safest. So this is Obwat, O brother, where art thou? The only shotgun you need is just the free one. That's all you need.
I'm gonna go see my cousin, Reyes.
We have plenty because we also picked up the one at the start of Marty's missions. So here, once again, you can pick up armor if you want it, but you don't really need it. Whoa, I don't know what happened there. This is a fantastic drive, FYI. Anyway, this one's just the same as NMG. And yes, you do want to pick up the shotgun here. You do not want to do the slightly newer shotgun skip that I think some people do in NMG and maybe any percent. I find that to be not useful in Hundo all that much. Go ahead, just shotgun this car a few times. That's that.
Nice to meet you.
Hey, Papi Chulo, spare me, please.
So we can get health on the next mission, so we don't need to worry. That's that mission done. We're just gonna go drive back onto Louise again for taking out the white trash. And you can jump off here because it's a cinematic cutscene. once again, I don't think a Virgo is faster here. Oh, okay. So you can get health here if you want. If you're like pretty low, I would recommend doing that. I believe I'll be fine. So here we're just gonna go ahead. Get it all the way back. Now what you're gonna do, run to the left. That's where you can get health again. I'll get it later. And pistol all 4 of these guys. Cause wow. Okay. So the bug still happened. Okay, so this is a good chance to explain what went wrong. This is a classic bug. I'm gonna continue shooting to see if it does somehow fix it. No, it does not. Okay. Oh, maybe it does. So I think at this point we're soft locked. So what I'm just gonna do here is shotgun Louise. We're just gonna go ahead and restart the mission. So that's a rare bug. Basically one of the guys spawns at 0-0. Now, to avoid that, what we normally do is we don't shotgun the first 4 dudes. Now, unfortunately, even though we pistoled all 4 of them, it still happened. Now, you can kind of decrease the odds of it happening by not shotgunning them. But if it does happen, it's not the biggest deal. Just get Louise and restart. So, unfortunate that happens. Unfortunately, sometimes it's just unavoidable. Now we're just gonna hope that it doesn't happen again. I will probably save state just in case, so we don't have to continuously restart this mission. It's not the point of a tutorial. Sometimes it is good in a tutorial to show when things go wrong. But, go to save state here. I don't think my save state button works. Does it? No, it does not work.
I'm sweating like a hoe in church.
Plain ugly. Let's not escalate this shit. That's real cool. Let's go, big dog. Let's go.
You can pick up some of the pistol ammo if you want. Now we're just gonna run back behind us, grab the Sanchez. And this is important for all categories. You should know that you can tap sprint, like you can in most of the GTA games, 3D games. However, and again this applies to all the GTA games, you need to hold sprint in order for characters to follow you. Now we're immediately just going to turn around and go back to Marty. So this is where things start to change a little bit. So this one we do a few 100% related things. So first things first, we're going to grab the Sanchez yet again. I want to drive out this way. I'm going to come around into what some people call a bumpy parking lot. I don't really see how that applies. But we're going to line up right here because there's a unique stun jump on a little staircase at the end here. So I'm going to save state because this is one of the hardest USJs in the game. What I like to do is lean forward a little bit, like just tap lean forward. And then once past the grass, just lean all the way forward. And usually that does it. I don't know if it's going to do it this time though. It is not. So this one just doesn't like to work sometimes. So tap, lean forward, stop, and then lean forward again. Because you need a good amount of speed. Sometimes it insta fails you. There's no real consistent way to do this that I don't think anyone's found. Sometimes you can also just completely miss the jump there. This one just takes several tries, and because it does go in the water, it can really be annoying. That looks good. Now, we've completed the stun jump, and again, it'll probably take several tries. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to find an oceanic. Now, normally that car spawns very rarely on this island, mostly spawns on the other one. There's no set spawns on this island. However, it is loaded into memory in this mission only, because you can use it for the mission. There's one that spawns for you to do the mission with. We're gonna go ahead and find one here. One will spawn eventually.
Your tax dollars taught me how to fight.
It may take a few moments, but one should eventually spawn. It may be wise to start driving up and down the road, because you do need a store one here. Let's keep driving up and down the roads till we find one. Unfortunately, that's all there is to it. There's one. Don't confuse this with the Glendale. This one's normally multicolored. And we're gonna go ahead and plop in our garage. Now, normally our garage only holds one car, but it can actually hold up to 4. As long as you can fit them all. So what you have to do is you have to park up against it, get out to open the garage, and then get back in and quickly drive in. Like that. Park it in the far right corner. And just run out, and now just find some vehicle. Preferably a bike, like this. And now we're actually going to do the mission. So that little bit can take a long time, but we need that oceanic. And like I showed, it did eventually spawn. It is loaded into memory. You probably should have turned back there. So here we are. So what we're going to do is we're going to get into the Polaris V8 back here. And first, we're going to go to the South Girl over here. What we're going to do is we're going to run over the guys here.
There's no place for a lady.
Relax. We've got more than rubbers for
And
protection.
we're actually going to get out, grab this Uzi ammo, because we need it for a later mission. And we're going to run over and grab this one Dale. And you kind of want her to get in the right door, but if she doesn't, it's not the end of the world, it's just a safety measure. So I would have preferred her to get in the right door there, but that's alright. So now we're going to get this one in the right door. Now, sometimes the girl can switch seats, which I'm gonna hope for, because it'll make this next section a lot safer. Ooh.
Over here, quick!
Now, the reason we want her in the other seat is because sometimes the girls can shoot her. Doesn't happen often, but again, it's just a safety measure. Good.
That was fun.
So now what we're going to do is we need a cop bike. Just any cop bike. We want a cop bike specifically because it is. We just need a cop bike. So if we can't find one nearby, we'll just start driving over to the police station. Often one spawns on your way to the police station. Oh yeah, see there was cop bikes here, but I'm just gonna go ahead and get the parked one. Oh nice, this bike's stuck in high gear. Alright. Get ready to deal with this. So now we're gonna do our first on mission 0 trick. Now, you start Vigilante and you cancel on top of Rampage. That gets you an on mission 0 Rampage. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna stop here. I'll save it here just for safety because this can be a little tricky. And there's a Rampage right down here in front of this door. So what we're gonna do is first things first. I'm gonna drive over here to the west, and we're gonna go into the Haitian factory from Vice City, where that spot is basically, which is just right down here. Park up here, and there's just a balloon over there. Just throw a Molotov at it, and it'll explode. Now what we're going to do is there are 2 stunt jumps we're going to do down in Viceport. So we need to get there a little quickly. So the first one is over the southernmost bridge right up here. And we're going to hope neither of these fail, because we don't really have time for them to fail, because we need to start the shooting range with like 10 seconds remaining. I'm not loving that. Now the second one is just right ahead. It's onto the boat. It's this little ramp here. So this one you don't actually need to go on the boat. You can hit this little thing on the side and it counts too. Yep, see? That's both of them done, so now we're going to go ahead and quickly drive over to field shooting range. And this is the trick to get 30,000 Molotovs. That's why we have to specifically use this Rampage. So we're going to run in here, and we're going to start this. I'm going to start it just now, and what we want to do is 10 seconds gives you about enough time to skip through all this tutorial, because essentially what we're going to do is we're going to dupe the mission. So now it's going to fail, and then we're going to start the shooting range again. We're going to skip through everything. It's going to fail. We're going to have a Molotov open. We're going to press up to... You don't have to have the Molotov, and then we're going to cancel the second instance, and now you can see we have 30,000 Molotovs. Now we're actually going to do the shooting range. So there are 5 rounds with different weapons. The first one, you want to just be shooting continuously. Because our goal is to waste all the ammo. So this is all the targets we need. So we're just going to continue shooting at the floor until we run out. That's the first round complete. Now the second round, you're going to do the same thing, but you do need to be a little careful because it is possible to run out of bullets. So you want to be a little careful. Now we can just shoot the rest of them. Because, again, if you fail one of these rounds, you fail the entire mission. Now, the next round is the shotgun. You have way too many bullets to shoot them all. So what we're going to do is we're going to shoot friendlies on waves 1, 2, and 4. So, shoot the friendly and then shoot those two guys. It is important that you shoot the friendly on the first wave first. Alright, now we just need to shoot all the friendly targets. All our main targets. We need to be careful that we don't shoot any more friendlies. I'm gonna wait for one more cycle because I don't want to accidentally shoot a friendly. So it's right there. That's the round complete. So now this final round, this one is the assault rifle round. This one we're going to do the same thing as the first two waves, except you need to be very careful with bullets. So I like to waste one clip there and then just be careful for the rest of it. Oh, I missed that one. I was gonna waste their bullets. Now our final round is the auto sniper round. This one, you can be a little careful, but it's really not that much. You really only need 25 bullets. I recommend holding L to do some fine aiming. Ooh. This one you do want to try and hit every target you can, pretty much. Because there's only 5 targets you can miss. Not including penalties. So this one you kind of just have to get a feel for it. There's no real strategies other than the shooting all your ammo out. Those are the only real strategies, basically. Now we can just waste their bullets. And that's the mission done. That's Phil's shooting range done. Now we're going to move on to truck stop. Now this mission can be pretty complex, because there's a lot going on. But I do this mission differently than some people do. A lot of these auto-scroller type missions I do differently than a lot of people do.
Are we being followed?
I recommend, if you're on control setup 1, change to control setup 2 now.
Chill out, man. There ain't no one following.
I don't... It's probably best to go behind your safe house here as a route over that way. It's probably best. There's a lot of different ways I try and haven't really figured out which one's the fastest. So this is the first thing I do different. You can get this balloon during the auto scroller later in the mission, but I get it here instead. This is what you need the Uzi for, because a pistol will not reach it. And no other SMG will reach it. Well, MP5 might reach it, but like the Tech 9 won't reach it. So I usually get that one there. So during the auto scroller, we're going to get the Street Fighter near Umberto. But first we need to catch the truck. Now, if you want to be safe, you can wait an extra second before getting the truck and let it drive a little farther, because it can make this auto scroller section a little easier, but not by a big margin. So instead of like you do an 90% or NMG and looking behind right when you have control after getting the truck, you do not want to do that. So here, I'm gonna wait an extra second just to show what I mean. So instead of looking behind right away, we're just gonna drive forward. Follow truck for a second, actually go ahead a little bit, and you're going to want to turn down this alley here. Because we're going to grab the Street Fighter here. And Phil should be right here. Good. So now once we get on this road, we can start looking behind. If you look behind while trying to get the Street Fighter, A, it makes it very hard, and B, it makes it a lot easier to lose this Phil. I have not actually looked behind and gotten the Street Fighter without losing Phil before, so. So there's one more thing we're going to do on this mission. We're going to get another balloon. This one's a lot easier to get on the auto scroller. So I can see our enemy car running towards us. But at this point, he's not really going to do a whole lot of damage. I mean, if you drive forward enough and not looking at him, he won't take damage. So what we're going to do is we're going to drive ahead a little bit here, and we're going to get this balloon up on this crane thing. That's simply just right up here. Now we're going to drive forward a little bit and try and get close to this door right here as possible. If we can get there in time, it lines us up very well for a stunt jump. So instead, we're going to line ourselves up. I want to change back to control set 1 because that's my preference. And we're going to do this stunt jump here. That's another stunt jump done. And we're going to go ahead and park this in the place. I'm going to park it in between the two cars. Now we're just going to, yet again, take another random car.
Hi there.
Oh, Shanna, come on, look at that. We're just going to go ahead and do marked men. There's not really anything special happening on this mission. So after this mission, we're going to do a death warp. This is our first intentional death warp, and pretty much all of our death warps, almost all of them, are going to be with Molotovs. Now that we have 30k, we're going to have those 30k Molotovs for the entirety of the rest of the run. Like, we're going to have it the rest of the run. We have it when we get 100%. They actually are kind of useful for the final mission, but the final thing we do, at least, not necessarily the final story mission. Final story mission, Last Stand, is not our final thing we do for the run. Not even close.
Drive easy, Vic. We last of my Boomshines in the back of the truck. I'm through with that demon drink. Hallelujah! It's a sober life for me, bud. Sober. S-O-B-E-R.
I'm gonna drive all the way to the northernmost Little Haiti road here, and just turn down it.
Whoa there, Shifty Local.
So I like to get some Uzi ammo here from this guy. If that happens where you lose control getting out, just jump. He did not drop Uzi ammo, that's right. He did though. I just like to get the Uzi ammo for safety. You don't have to. Now we're gonna push out this way. Truck's heavy. So he pushes the car. Our car pushes the other car out of the way very easy because our Walton is heavy. Now, don't look behind to try and manipulate spawns, because they'll actually spawn right in front of you instead, and Phil can end up blowing us up. So just drive forward as fast as you can. Now, normally,
I think we both.
now, most of the time, what most people do is they wait for the first pager to come in, then death warp. Now, I have issues with that. I don't know why I specifically have issues. But instead, I just wait till the second rampage comes in. And I will save state just in case there's more weapon issues. So the issues I have, basically I cannot get my weapons back for some reason. I think it had something to do with these cutscenes, to be honest with you. So we're going to take the ambulance. Now there are two different strategies you can do in this mission. You can either do the ambulance strategy or the shotgun strategy. The ambulance where you pin Marty up against a wall and drive by him. Now I don't do that. I do the shotgun strat, which I think is more widely used. I'm not fully sure though. I think Auntie does the shotgun strat. Perfect. Love a freeway. Freeway is actually very nice for this mission, so we don't have to get a new Sanchez. So what we're going to do is, because we have a bike, I'm going to spin around. And what I'm going to do, pull out my shotgun. He tries to get me off, you can drive by him if you feel like you need to. And then I'm just going to park up here and get ready to shotgun him. Line up against here and just time it as well as you can. Perfect. Just drive by him a little bit. That's all you need to do. And that's about as well as you'd want it to go. So now sometimes this can pop tires. It surprisingly did not pop tires, which is optimal. I mean, sometimes your tires pop, sometimes they don't. Now we do want to drive carefully because we don't know how close to death the car is. But that strat's the same thing in no major glitches. The same exact strats. Nothing's different about this mission. So we are going to do another death warp after this mission. But instead we're going to leave it here. Because I don't want to go on to the next mission. Because there's complicated stuff you have to do immediately after it. And I don't want to leave you all hanging. So we're going to run south slightly and death warp. You want to run south slightly so that you don't end up warping to the North Hospital. Because you're like right on the border there. Anyway, buyback weapons. Buyback weapons after every death warp. Every death warp. We're going to go left, and we're going to leave it here. So that was Boomshine Blowout through D.I.V.O.R.C.E. We'll pick it up with 2 Victor the Spoils on the next episode. Have a good one.